Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about selectors, event listeners, and toggles, toggling CSS classes using JavaScript. So this is where we actually use JavaScript to create interactivity on our page. Okay, so here we have our basic setup. Once again, HTML, linking to a style sheet with one H1 just to check if that works. And we also have our script, which we're going to call demo.js, and linked, and just to see if that works, console.log. Hello. Great. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the document. Let's take a look at that for a second. So I have my console.log, and I'm going to click in document. Okay, document is an object that contains, so it's the data type object, and it contains everything in your page. All the methods, all the tags, all the everything. And so you can use this document object to select and act upon all the things in your scene. And here's all this craziness. Okay, so let's try to select something in our document. And so I'm going to make a header tag, and in my header tag we'll have a nav, and in my nav we'll have a few links. I can create a variable, so we'll say const header tag equals document, and then the data type is document. So then to select something within the document, we have dot, and we're going to pull a method, querySelector, and then we have to tell it what selector. So I'm going to put in quotes header. And then we can look at that header tag over here. Here's our header. And everything that we want to do to our header is all here. Okay, so we've selected our header and we've stored it in a variable so that we can use it later. And we did this by looking in the document, pulling the querySelector method, and grabbing the header object. So right now it's selector, meaning singular. If we need to select multiple things simultaneously, we could do that. So we could say const nav links. Hold on, let me. Equals document querySelectorAll, and we want nav a, so all the links within nav, and then we can look at that over here, and we'll see it's an array of 3 objects. Okay, so now that we've selected elements, we want to be able to interact with them. And that is where event listeners come in. So I have a tag, right? Header tag. And what I can do is copy this. And then I can say add event listener. And how this works is there's 2 parts to this. So this is a method on the header tag. So the first part is what event are we paying attention to? And the second part is what do you want to do? So the first thing is it could be on click, on scroll, on mouse over, it's kind of like hover, on mouse over, which is kind of like hover, on mouse move, right? So we'll do click because it's the most straightforward here, right? So we selected something in our document, then we're waiting for an event. Which event is a click, and then it's do something once that's clicked. So we know to do something that you can execute, you use a function. So it's the exact same syntax we've been seeing all along. Function, open parentheses, close parentheses, open curly bracket, close curly bracket. And then you'll see this is kind of hard to look at. So for us humans, we open this up a little bit, right? And then over here is like do something, right? So on the click of the header tag, do something. Okay, so let's build a really simple game. I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to delete all this. And we're going to start with a button. I'll make a button. And we'll call it score. And we'll give it a class. Equals button underscore underscore score. All right. So first we want to select this button. So we're going to say const button tag or score button tag equals document dot query selector this class dot boom. And we'll do console log. Just see how this is going. Great. Okay, so then we're gonna apply a method to this tag dot add event listener. What are we gonna listen for? Click. Do something. So we'll say function open curlies and then open the curlies up. Do something. Okay, so the easiest thing, I'm gonna comment that out for a second. Let's copy this, place it in here, and we'll say, yay. All right, so every time I hit this, oops, see, typo. Every time I hit this, yay, 2 yays, a bunch of yays, okay? So this is not, very impressive, but this is actually a really kind of key moment here. You can select things in your HTML using very similar selectors that you're doing in your CSS. Then from anything you have selected, you can listen for events like clicks and scrolls and mouse overs and yada yada. And then when that happens, you can do something. So that is really how this all works. So we can also change the HTML itself. So instead of just saying yay, we could do something like this. We could say, okay, how about this element dot style dot background color now equals pink. Now it's pink. Okay, so we can have things appear in the console. We can change the CSS styles. We can change the HTML. So I could say score button tag dot inner HTML, and it can say, yay here. So now it's going to change pink and say yay. And it can be more than just the text. Like you can add other HTML elements. We'll look at that later. Okay, so let's change this h1 to class equals headline. And we'll save that. Headline equals okay. Okay, so when we score, let's get rid of all this stuff. We're going to say, make a let score equal 0. And then each time we click on the button, the score increases. Score equals score plus 1. And we'll just, I like to test things all the time. So, great. Okay, and then we're going to take this score and display it up here. So to do that, we're going to say headline dot inner HTML, whoopsie, inner HTML equals score. Refresh and all right. We can also have something happen when the score hits 10, let's say. So to do that, it can be handy to say, okay, just like write it out. So when the score hits 10, make some text slide in that says you win. So it can be really helpful. This is just like figuring it out just as like a comment without even some code. So let's do that first. So when the score hits 10, okay, so how do we do that? So we do that with a new thing called a conditional. And so we're going to say if what. So if what, do something. So the what is the score equal to 10. So why equal? If I just said score equals 10, it will just set the score to 10, right? So that's not very helpful. That's why you see this equal thing in conditional statements. So check to see if the score equals 10, and then so once again, console log is our best friend. .log. Let's just see if this works, right? you win. Okay. Refresh. You win. Woo! Now, we could style things in here, but I'm going to show you one more thing. So let's say the text slides over and, says there's a little flag that says you win. And, while we're at it, we'll just start with 0. Okay, so to do that, we are going to create a toggle. And so what a toggle is having a CSS class that we're going to use that we can turn on and off. So before we do any JavaScript, let's just get the HTML and CSS set up. So we'll say h2, you win. Okay, and then we'll give this a class equals you win flag. So then we'll go to our CSS for a second. And we'll say dot you win flag. Say color of green. Cool. And we'll say transform position. All right, translate x is -200 pixels, which takes it right off the screen. And then what we're going to do is have another class called move over flag. And this one's going to have the translate of 0. And we'll add this class to our. So what we're going to do is if we turn this off, the UN is off to the left, and when we turn it on, it's visible. So we're going to turn this thing on and off with our JavaScript. And so this should hopefully bring everything together. So const you win element equals this thing. Then when the page loads, we want that turned off. We want this, move over flag turned off. So to do that, we go within our element and we say class list, which is all the CSS classes that are assigned to that element, dot toggle, which means turn on and off, which one? We want move over flag. And the thing that's a little tricky about this is there's no dot. Sometimes there's a dot, and sometimes there's not. You just have to kind of keep track of what's what. And so now what we can do is we'll take the same line of code, because a toggle is a on and off, and if we put it here, what should happen is once we get to 10, UN pops up. And so I said, make some text slide over. So to do that, we just need to add our animation, right? So we can say transition all 1 second. Refresh. All right.